quadratic equations, and we're going to focus on graphing a function in the form of ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0.
Okay, so we have what is the graph of y equals negative 2x squared plus 2x minus 5. And what I want to do is I'm going to graph this using the equation. I'm going to come up with some key points and the axis of symmetry, my y-intercept, and those items to go ahead and graph it without using a calculator.
So as we look at this, we know that the axis of symmetry, when we're working in standard form, is going to be the equation x equals and then negative b over 2a. So as we do some substitution here, we know that x equals negative b. The b value that we pulled out of our standard form is going to be 2, so that is going to be negative 2 over 2 times a, and our a value turns out to be negative 2, because looking at our standard form, and we know that that now simplifies down to 1/2. So my axis of symmetry is going to be x equals 1/2.
Okay, so now I know then my axis of symmetry is the value of x equals 1/2. So I have this axis of symmetry that is x equals 1/2. Now, as you can see, I've gone ahead and made my coordinate plane, and I've skewed it a little bit up because I know that characteristically, looking at my quadratic equation, that since I have a negative a, it's going to be going downward, so I'm going to be focusing on the bottom, third, and fourth quadrants.
Now moving forward, that I have my vertex, or my axis of symmetry, I know now I can find my vertex, because my x value of my vertex is going to be negative b over 2a, which, so I know that my axis of symmetry, my vertex is going to occur on my axis of symmetry. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to evaluate my function with the value of x on my axis of symmetry, which we turned out and already determined is 1/2. So if I replace x with 1/2 in my equation, that is going to give me my output, my y value.
Okay, so as I input 1/2 into my quadratic equation, I have negative 2 times 1/2 squared plus 2 times 1/2 minus 5, simplifying down to negative 2 times 1/4, order of operations, then plus 1 minus 5, which turns around and gives me in the end, my y value is my vertex is going to turn out to be 1/2, and negative 9/2 is my vertex. So let's see, that should have been negative 1 right there, negative 2. So if I go ahead and graph my vertex, goodness. Let's go with negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, so forth, so 4/2. So we have 1/2 and 1/2 and 4/2 for my vertex. We know that it is going to open downward, and I know that by looking at my equation, my y-intercept is going to be negative 5. So negative 5, using my points of symmetry, I know that I have the same points of symmetry, so I'm able to graph this equation using those 3 points: my y-intercept, my vertex, and then of course my symmetric value to my y-intercept. Alright, as we look at converting our standard form into vertex form, and what I've done is I've gone ahead and I've given you our standard form again, and then of course we have our vertex form, and we just discussed that the vertex in standard form is going to be negative b over 2a, and then the function of, or the function notation, or the input
could go ahead to figure out what our vertex form is. We could do completing the square, but that's just not convenient. So we're going to go ahead and convert. So I know that a equals -1, b equals 4, and c is -5. And on the previous slide, we talked about my vertex is going to be equal to right here, my vertex. But let's look with x equals, and we know that x equals -b over 2a. And we know that given our values of this equation is going to be -4 over 2 times -1, which is going to give me 2. If I look at my equation right here, and I'm going to go ahead and input 2 into my equation, so I have -2 squared plus 4 times 2 minus 5. So this gives us -4 plus 8 minus 5, and we end up having -1. So I know then my vertex is going to be 2, -1. Now if I put it into my vertex form up here, that should be a. We have a is negative, because that's the only a value here. Then we have x minus, and we said our x value is going to be 2 squared, and then instead of plus k, and k we have determined is -1, so we have negative x minus 2 squared minus 1, and that is converting standard form to vertex form.